that you did that on purpose. Hi, everybody! Happy Friday!
Happy Friday!
I know, right? When did that happen? When did it become Friday? Hi!
Well, it usually precedes a Thursday.
Oh, is that how that works?
I think so. I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
Well, everybody, welcome to another episode of History, Drink, Repeat. It's our first episode of 2021. So, yeah.
Have you made any New Year's resolutions?
New Year's resolutions. I actually have not really made... Oh, my biggest one, which is gonna sound... I don't know if this is lame, but I guess it's not because it's my own thing. I want to learn more about Norse mythology this year. Like, that's like the topic that I feel least confident in, and I would like to know more about it because it's super rad. As we've come to tell while doing these History Drink Repeats, when we do things like the history, the lore of Friday the 13th, we've done these different types of lore that all goes back to, like, even the origins of Santa Claus, it all went back to Norse mythology, and I'm just like, that's the beginnings of so much Western culture that I want to know more. Like, that's so fascinating to me, right?
That's a great little thing there.
What about you? Do you have any?
Yeah, I want to finish my first not marathon, so 0 running. I definitely want to work on gaining weight, and I want to try to be much more of a recluse.
Oh, easy peasy.
I call them the reverse.
The reverse resolutions.
Yeah, because look, if you're gonna fail at all your New Year's resolutions by like month 2, if I set resolutions I know I'm automatically going to fail, maybe I'll succeed in random ways.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win, right? Well, yes. You're drinking... Okay, yes. All right, everyone, thank you. We just started talking. So here's another episode of History Repeat. Today we're going to be talking about the Medici family of Florence, the Medici. Or the Medici, whatever your persuasion is, right? British, Italian. So, yes, I am PvaColada. My real name's Janelle, which is like something I like to use during the History Drink Repeat episodes. And this is...
Angelus. My real name is Stanley.
Don't lie. Your name's right there at the bottom of your picture. All right, John. And this is John. Angelus, yes. So today I am drinking, since we are History Drink Repeat, I decided to go very appropriate to the Italian, and I'm drinking a Negroni, which is equal parts gin, Campari, and sweet vermouth with an orange peel. So, yay! It's very bitter, and I love it.
I am drinking out of a cool History Drink Repeat mug. Look at that.
Our first
merch. And you can take a guess on what I'm drinking, because I drink it every week.
Well, you go from whiskey to Jack and Cokes, or whiskey and Coke, or something of that nature.
Today, just straight whiskey. I feel like, just as Italy helped refine the wine, I'd like just to help refine the whiskey that I put into my mouth.
Keep it straight. Keep it neat.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Nice. So I know Daz is drinking wine. So I don't know if everyone wants to share what they've been drinking. It's always a fun time to know what people are drinking, even if it's not alcohol. If you're just drinking water or soda or your favorite juice, people like to casually drink juice, and that's cool too. Who drinks? All your little commands that you've made.
I made myself drink. That's really rude.
Stay hydrated, my friend. Stay hydrated. Well, I just want to do a couple. So it is Friday, January 15th. Two honorable mentions. Today was the day that Martin Luther King Jr. was born. We celebrate MLK Day on Monday. And then also today, on a sadder note, is... Hold on, Dad. I'm gonna thank you just a second. On the sadder note, today is the day that the Black Dahlia was deemed had died. So on the sadder note, but two really big, I would say MLK, of course, is much larger, but Black Dahlia is sensational and very much.
Wait, why are we care about a flower that passed away? Is that like a thing?
Is that what that is? No. So I did want to say that because I was like really going back and forth on what to talk about today. I almost thought about doing MLK because of course his day is on Monday, today's his birthday, and then I was like, well, maybe I'll do like the Black Dahlia and the murders. But then I was like, you know what? I've been playing Assassin's Creed, and I love Florence, and anytime I get to talk about anything Italian, I get really, really jazzed about it. So I chose to do the Medici family. I was just very much inspired by Assassin's Creed 2, for sure. So just for those that just tuned in, I am drinking a Negroni that I've made myself.
And I'm drinking whiskey.
Whiskey
I
is
know.
bomb diggity. I think
Predictable.
it's great. No, I don't think it's predictable.
This is actually Roman whiskey, though.
Oh. All right, you guys. So let's get cracking because I could talk for a million years on this. I hope you enjoyed this music. I hope you enjoyed this story. Maybe you already know a few things. So get ready for the almost, accurate history of the Medici family. The Medici. The Medici family. So just to give you guys a heads up, so we're talking about really 14th century, 15th century, 16th century, 17th century, 18th century, right? They span and are around for quite some time, and there's actually 3 different groupings of the Medici family, but we're really going to focus on 2 of them. The ones the more the proletariat, and then we're going to go into like the final pretty much dynasty of their family. So I'm going to try to get through it. I hope I don't talk too long. You know me. I want to talk for a million years. So, teach me, please.
I'm ready to be taught.
You're ready to be taught.
I'm so ready.
We'll see how this goes. Okay, so in the 14th century, the Medici rose from really relatively obscurity. They moved out of the Tuscan hillsides, basically the Tuscan hills side town, and they moved into Florence, and they're going to become the most powerful and wealthiest family in all of Italy and most of Europe as well. It's actually stated that I think they were the richest family in Europe. That's kind of crazy when you think about nobility and you think about the French monarchy and the English monarchy and everything going on in Europe, and then you have this relatively tiny family in Florence that's going to just obtain all this wealth, and I'm going to tell you how and all that. Just a moment. So they were an Italian banking family. They also were in textiles and wool as well, but really the biggest thing is going to be the banking element. And they're going to get really involved in politics. They're going to create a dynasty, and they're even going to marry royalty as well. I know, because they become so popular during the really beginning of the early 15th. So we're talking about really the 1400s, the 1500s, and then it'll kind of teeter into the 16 and 1700s as well. But really, we're focused on Renaissance time, and we're gonna, yeah, cool. So the Medici used the wealth from their hugely successful bank to wield influence over the political and cultural scene in Florence, Italy, and beyond, honestly, because the Renaissance is going to go all the way right into England as well. The House of the Medici is now counted amongst the most influential families of all time of history, which is insane to think about, to leave such a footprint in the past. And in some ways, because they financially will fund the Renaissance, they change the course of Western history and pretty much the entire world, ultimately. So, I love them. I could cry.
That's scary to have that much power.
I know, but do you think, I guess the ultimate question is, did they realize at the time that they were making such an impact politically and culturally on the world?
I mean...
do you think living through it, would you know? Yes.
Well, assuming you and I know we're making the biggest impact on the world right now, I can only assume they would know as well.
Yeah. I don't know. You're very sweet to think that. But they were instrumental in the rise of the Italian Renaissance, and they were deeply involved in shaping European culture and politics for 300 years. So the Medici were the first to win their ruling status through commerce rather than through anything like warfare, which was huge if you think about it. A lot of times people conquered where they just rose the ranks and just made a shit ton of money and just kind of made alliances with all the right people and got rid of all the right people, right? So they and they do this also through marriage, of course, as well, and through inheritance, and it will become a dynasty. They will pass it on to their sons and sons. And it's a patriarchal, so it goes through the sons, but the daughters, 2 of them get married off to royalty. So hey,
that's not a bad way to go.
That's not a bad way to go. So a lot of this is going to be about the dudes. I do have one chick I'm going to talk about, but it's mainly all dudes today, unfortunately. I do like doing female history, but I'm just going to try to keep it simple as much as possible.
Yeah, we should talk about the most important gender, so...
Burn. Oh, whatever. So after years of dominance, the House of Medici fell as quickly as it rose, y'all. So here we go.
Yeah, because it was run by men. This just sounds like the correct to go.
Yes. I like doing the chicks. Is that what I said? That sounds about right. I miss words when I speak sometimes. I don't always. Well, hey, whatever. So here's where the history begins.
I mean, clip it or it didn't happen. That's all I'm asking for.
So the Medici family, like I stated before, they moved from the Tuscan hills to Florence in present-day Italy at some point in the 12th century, roughly. And then they become these established members of the community. One of the fascinating things about Italy during this time that I really wanted to point out really quickly is, as I said before, this idea of commerce. So remember, Italy is broken up into city-states. So you have the Republic of Florence, you have the Republic of Venice, the Kingdom of Napoli, and things like that. So like it's all separated. And what's happening is you have this rise of this merchant class. So it's like a 5-class system. The top are the nobles, then you have the merchants, the middle, and the lower, and So the merchant class is huge, and it's rising the ranks. And of course, the most powerful of those is going to be the Medici, and other merchant families are going to obtain some amount of power as well. But the Medici are going to be the top dogs, right? And that's why we're talking about them today.
Is it just because they were a financial powerhouse?
Yeah,
like
and
they were the bank, basically. They were the central bank.
They start, which we'll talk about in just a second. They start basically the Bank of Florence, the Medici Bank, and then all the money's just gonna flow through there.
I mean, how did they get all this money to start a bank in the first place?
It's just they had the wool industry, so and then they got into banking, and then it was just passed on, and they got more aggressive and more aggressive.
Got it. Okay.
So yeah, it's wild, and then it will crumble. So actually, it's gonna be interesting. When the bank ends is not when you expect it to end, but they still by that point have so much power that it just kind of goes through. So yeah. Okay, so remember we have this merchant class that's very powerful and on the rise, and because of this, Florence has become this international kind of economic center, and this is one of the major reasons it's going to become the cradle of the European Renaissance, because there's all this money, right? And people are going to be flooding there as well. So they're going to be hanging out there, or they're living amongst the little towns on the outskirts. And Florence is like where it's happening. Of course, Rome is too. Venice, Naples, Genoa as well. Milan. You still have these big other centers, but Florence is going to be like where everyone's gonna want to go. And if you like, that's what I love about playing Assassin's Creed. Like, I'm gonna bring this up so many times, is that it's actually a really bustling city. Like, when you're running around Florence in Assassin's Creed 2, there's so many people, and I'm just like, get out of the way. I mean, it's really happening, right?
I mean, it's definitely... And how many assassins climbed on architecture back then as well? Like, was that a thing?
No.
Okay, just
I mean,
worth asking.
Parkour, right?
Hardcore parkour.
Parkour. So the most prominent of the merchant family, of course, as stated before, is the Medicis. They were a wealthy banking family, as I've stated, and they had been for quite some time. Remember, this isn't like all of a sudden 1500s they're a banking family. It had been happening and building since the 12th century. So it took time for them to become as powerful and as influential as they are during the period we're really going to be focusing on. So let's start with our first main dude, right? It's going to be really... Let me get my photos up. I don't want to forget photos. The visual representations is quite important. Kampai, yes! Kampai. Yeah. Cheers. Oh, is there a cheers thing? No, kampai. Hazda, cheers, salute, whatever you guys want to say. Any reason to drink is a good reason. Well, I wouldn't say any reason, but... Lots of, awesome. How do you backpedal from that one?
I don't even think we've drinking that much yet, but I'm having a good time.
But I'm just happy. To be here. So the story of the Medici family, incredible rise in Florence. We'll start with Giovanni de Medici. Giovanni. My dad's name, right? Giovanni de Medici. He rose through the ranks in Florence. He actually inherited the banking business from his uncle, and he's going to do a really, really good job with it. So he became the manager at his uncle's bank in Rome first, and then when his uncle retired, he left actually the entire bank in Giovanni's hands. Later on, Giovanni's going to move to Florence, and he's officially going to establish the Medici Bank. Sorry, I'm going to go back and forth. I feel like I'm going to say the Medici and Medici. I'm just going to do it both ways.
You can do it. Just know it's pronounced two different ways. Explain to us the British pronunciation and okay, how do you say Medici in Britain? European centric.
The
British.
Hold on. I always just say it and then I know it. Isn't that random?
So the Italian is Medici.
The Medici, yes, and then the Medici, I believe, is British. The Medici, and the Medici is Italian. I believe. I'm fairly.
And then
I'm like
Medici is American. Right?
Medici is American. Yes. Hi, welcome, my darling. So yeah, so later on, Giovanni's going to establish the Medici, right? The Medici Bank, and the bank soon became this top financial institution in the region, and that's largely thanks to its primary clients, which is the Pope. So,
it's a big client.
I mean, to get the Pope and along with it the Roman Catholic Church as your big client, you're going to be like, you're going to be top dog, and that's okay that you're late, cheese. We're just happy you're here. We're talking about the Medicis.
Medici.
The Medicis.
Medici.
So eventually, because of having such a high-end client like the Pope and the Roman Catholic Church, the bank will start to open other branches. So, of course, you have the branch in Rome, and there's going to be branches in Genoa, and there's going to be branches in Venice, and so on and so forth. And this is just the beginning, right? Giovanni is going to now, after he starts to fade away, he's going to pass the banking system, the business, onto his sons, Cosimo and Lorenzo, who are going to be the two main founders of the famous Medici bloodlines. So,
Medici.
The Medici and the Medici bloodline. So we're going to be talking about, first, we're going to really talk about Cosimo, and then we'll get into Lorenzo's line in just a moment. So you guys are super chatting. The Medici. We're going to be saying that the whole time.
Every time you say it, I feel like I have
congratulations, to... Congratulations, Chief, on winning that giveaway. You had to stay. I get it. I really do.
And thanks, Odin. He's saying it with me. Odin's saying it with me. Medici! That's one spicy meatball. I apologize if I've offended any Italians.
I'm Italian, so you're fine. In my opinion. So we're gonna start first with the Cosimo bloodline, and then we'll go to the Lorenzo bloodline. By the way, when I rewatch these episodes, I realize I repeat myself like crazy because of all the times we sidetrack, and then I try to bring it back. So I do apologize for being repeated.
I take no responsibility in any of that.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so the brothers take over. Got it. The sons take over.
Well, the two lineages. So we're really going to look at Cosimo, right? Cosimo's the eldest son of Giovanni, and he's going to be known as Cosimo the Elder. And so one of the things that Cosimo, Cosimo, Cosimo. Just to let you know, there's like a lot of other families, especially in the past, and not even today people do it, you have with the multiple lines, right? So, the name is passed down through the lineage. So we're going to have more than one Cosimo. We're going to have more than one Lorenzo. We're going to have more than one Pero. So, we have a lot of, you'll hear me say the same names, and I'll do my best to help you know who's who, right?
Okay. I'm ready. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to pay attention.
So first we're going to talk about Cosimo the Elder, right? Not Quasimo, Cosimo. Like cosmic. Cosimo the Elder.
Cosimo the Elder.
I know, look at this. This is him right here. It is older years. So he's the elder. He's the eldest son of Giovanni. So during, so Cosimo will begin to use his incredible wealth at his disposal to set up this elaborate network in Florence, which greatly increases his influence. He is so what he starts to do, he's quick to loan out money in exchange for favors. That's a good way.
Sexual?
That's where your mind went, just in general, favors. Not all favors are sexual. I don't know what kind of life you live.
We're talking about the men in Italy. I just feel like that's
he's
on
loaning
brand.
out money. I can't say what, but different favors, right? And which within a few years, nearly every business in Florence is actually going to be beholden to him, which is pretty powerful, right? If you have, everyone owes you money, it's pretty good. So Cosimo, he's going to spread the Medici Bank throughout Western Europe and beyond. He's going to open branches in places like Milan and London and Pisa and Barcelona and Cairo and other big major cities throughout Western Europe, and North Africa as well, because Europe had a lot of control, right? The money from all these cities are going to flow indirectly through the House of the Medici, through the Medici Bank. Sorry, I see I went from House of Medici to the Medici Bank.
Yeah. Got it.
I do that the whole time. I want you to know. I'm really good. You guys should listen to me. You should get all your history facts from me. I'm just gonna give it to you straight and loose, clearly.
So money's starting to flow to the banks. Got it.
So because they're opening up so many banks throughout pretty much all of Western Europe and also as in Cairo and things of that nature, all this money is going to start flowing through the House of the Medici and also through the Medici Bank. So that's a lot of dough.
That guy's the Pope we're looking at right now?
This is Cosimo.
Quasimodo. Got it.
Oh God, I can't even. What'd you get in history class in high school there, John?
In the A, I was pretty good in history.
Like you're probably pretty good. I like it. Thank you guys, Odin keeps writing it in the chat, so you know. Thank you, hi Blue.
Cosimo de Medici.
You guys are ridiculous. Cosimo was able to maintain control by buying the votes of office holders as well. So he has so much. Basically, I'm skipping ahead, by the way. The Pope opened a very significant line of credit, giving the Medici the control over pretty much the church's purse strings, if you think about it, because the Pope opened this line of credit. With all this power and influence, Cosimo became the de facto ruler of Florence. He was known as an ordinary citizen. He didn't have any sort of nobility. There was really no big, government, top dog, like a president or anything like that. But because they held so much of the money and the influence, he becomes this, and because now kind of having the Pope under him not under him, but because of the money element, he was able to kind of pull some strings and influence over the Pope and the church. And remember, the church is it's still big, but it was so big at the time, right? The Holy Roman Empire, the Vatican. So Cosimo, because of this kind of influence and control when it comes to finances, he becomes this de facto ruler of Florence. Kind of like this, under the table ruler, I guess you could say. Unofficial.
Baller.
I know,
Baller. Right?
And he's just all like, I got the power.
So basically like the QAnon of Italy.
Yes, sure, if you want to do it that way. Even though officially like I said, he remains this private citizen. There's actually rules in Florence about this, which I'll get to in just a second, but about being a private citizen. So, and the House of the Medici became the dominant family in Florence because of Cosimo's power and influence over everything. So he was able, like I said, to maintain control because he buying the votes of office officials. The families that had been dominant before them, were not happy about this, of course. So, you think about it. You have been a prominent family in Florence, and then all of a sudden, this banking family is starting to really fairly quickly, gather up, right, all this influence due to this bank. And so people, other big rival families were not happy about this. Pretty much this quick rise of power, of big power, right? So a rival family had him arrested, by the way. So this is gonna be, so you're gonna hear a lot about these different.
Wait, I'm sorry. How do you get someone arrested?
Okay, so this is what they got arrested for. So for elevating himself above the status of an ordinary citizen. Remember, they are a republic. So they're the Republic of Florence, and the whole the political system. They don't have a king. They don't have a president. So remember, the highest order is the Pope, and so then you have officials. You have government officials, but so everyone is an ordinary citizen. So it's technically they have a form of democracy in some capacity,
a representative democracy.
Yeah, in some capacity, not as we have one today, but and so anybody that decides to see themselves as a king or a dictator or anything above an ordinary citizen is deemed as actually you could be put to death for it. So they made a case against him, against basically Cosimo, that he was trying to make himself above an ordinary citizen by basically using his influence to sway things in his power. That's why he's an unofficial ruler, right? So, does that make sense?
Yeah, it's kind of like Starship Troopers, where Service guarantees citizenship. But if you try to become a general without the appropriate amount of people dying before you, go straight to jail.
Yeah. So
yeah,
so it's kind of interesting. So it's like this. You have this supposedly democratic, right, Florence, but if you but they'll give you the death penalty if you start to. Yeah. So he's imprisoned in a tiny dungeon, where Cosimo's basically contrived to make sure that he has to make sure no one's trying to kill him or poison him, which is kind of interesting to think about. I mean, that was a big thing, right? People got poisoned all the time. I feel like back in the day.
I mean, they lived during Assassin's Creed. So I feel like that just had to have happened.
And he would bribe people as well, members of the Signoria. So basically, the Signoria of the government, he'd bribe members of the government to reduce his sentence and to basically banish him for 5 years. So he got exiled, and he goes off to Padua, and then he goes off to Venice. And Venice, the Republic of Venice is like, you want to bring your bank and your money here? We accept you. So they gladly accept Cosimo. But he takes his bank with him. So what does that do to Florence when his bank goes? The economy
crashes.
So while he's in Venice, doing his thing, Florence is like, come back. We need you. Please come back. And he's like, I'll come back if my opponents are pretty much taken out. Not taken out, but they're pushed away. And so
I don't want to have to deal with that.
He doesn't want to deal with it. So that gets in his favor. His opponents are banished, and in turn and to make sure they never come back, and he actually comes back to Florence, unofficially rules pretty much unchecked for the next 30 years when he comes back.
Wow.
I know. People like him, though.
I mean, yeah, because, he's bringing the money back. He's bringing the jobs back.
The one and only Tronzilla. I like it. Oh my god. Oh, I love it. Taking out to dinner? Yes. Taken out to dinner, exactly. So during this time, Cosimo poured money. So again, we've been talking a little bit about here's how they come to power. So now, what is this influence ultimately? What is it resulting to? How does this make an impact on the world as a whole? Ultimately, Western civilization at least, right? So Cosimo is he's gonna pour money into the arts. He's gonna pour into academics, things like philosophy and scholars. Humanism, right, is on the rise. Individualism, secularism, you name it, a small scientific revolution's happening, and basically cultural pursuits, which made him and his family extremely popular. So, I mean, people love art, right? They love music. They love, so supporting that and funding that makes them popular. And, of course, that means they have a little bit of control over the propaganda as well. So there's that. But they're also going to have, he's able to use his art for political advantage, like I said, with propaganda. And before long, Florence was this cultural center of Europe because of it. So supporting big names let's do a big name drop, Michelangelo, right?
Damn!
So
Leonardo.
No, not yet. Yes, that's gonna be Lorenzo. We're not there yet. So, but you think about they're gonna start really. They help build things you can't really see because of John the Duomo right here. How should I do this? There it is. I should do a reverse. They really help support the architecture of Florence, the artistic culture of Florence, and many Raphael, Donatello, Splinter, right? No, let's keep it. Shredder, yeah.
that was a
really
famous artist,
big
right?
names. All those really big names. So he also donates generous gifts to the church, which is can we talk about some simony and some indulgences? Hey-o.
I mean, as long as the church absolves you of your sins,
you're fine.
You can get away with murder.
It's fine. So, pizza party, I love it. So he also
during the Renaissance. Real question: during the Renaissance, was that the same time where the church came up with the scheme so that you could basically purchase forgiveness?
Indulgences.
Indulgences, yeah. Was that the same time?
Yeah, that's happening. So, and that's one of the big reasons the Reformation happens. Right?
Where after you delightfully...
So I was talking about how Cosimo poured a bunch of his money into the arts, into philosophy, into scholars. I mean, he was really big on supporting this this reemergence of this the the ancient culture, right, of the Greek ancient cultures, which is this rebirth of ancient, like what the definition of the Renaissance even is. Cosimo is really the first is doing this, right? He actually has an insane library of where he's having a bunch of works translated for him that were in Latin, that are in Greek, that are in Hebrew, right? All this old this ancient text that he wants in his own library. So he's supporting this, right? And also he's supporting this new humanism. As in at the time it was new, right? We have a new wave of humanism that happens in the 20th century, but you have this idea about the self, right? The individual, about humans, right? It's outside of this, outside of this religious idea, the secularism that's just starting to really spread throughout Florence. And Cosimo is really, he's supporting this. Even though it's here, church, let me help give you some things, right? Let me give you money and have influence. But really, the idea of the church at the time, not to be offensive in any way, but this is just the factual thing, is that the church was power, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily...
The church had power almost over the king at most times.
The church was corrupt. That's why you have a Reformation. There was a huge issue happening within the church. Not to say that there wasn't true religious order, right? But or people with real faith, but there was this huge corruption. Because we're going to learn, because even the Medici are going to have their own... pretty much those in their lineage down the line who are going to hold the position of Pope and Cardinal, because through simony, right, this paying of officials, of being able to buy your way into upper classes of the church, of orders of the church, right, it's a corrupt system that is exposed, right, by Martin Luther and his theses. So that it's so you have so much happening. That's more 1400s, but you have so much is happening, right, during this time. This huge shift and this transition and this exposure and this this emergence of so many great things that I'm just gonna cry because it's so beautiful. Okay, let's get back to Cosimo, right? Because we still haven't even gotten to Lorenzo or Cosimo.
We're at 8:47 right now.
We're going to 9:30. Who's kidding who?
We need a book.
We need a book. Wait, let me go to my notes. Okay, so remember, Cosimo starts to also he's donating money to the church for kind of persuasion there. He's also putting money into the Florentine government as well, and kind of being able to gain support, push things in his favor. He's he becomes the most influential figure in helping to retain this pretty much the Medici's privileged position in the city at this time. You have Pope Pius II, who's the Pope during this period, who he knew really well. And there's actually, I didn't know this, it's something that I read, so this is really interesting. It is said that the political matters were settled at Cosimo's house. So the Pope would come chill at Cosimo's estate, his villa, right? Or and they would talk about who should hold positions of power, how should and also big government officials, and he helped decide peaces and what wars should go down. And he pretty much, if you think about it, because he could help decide who was going to be in power, where they should go to war, what areas should be at peace, he's kind of virtually a king, right, under the rug of Florence in many ways, which is crazy.
Money really does buy power.
The thing that I taught my students last semester was money equals power. That's just the way. It's a huge theme, right? You can't really dispute that. Give it a go. So under Cosimo's control, the Medici family kept getting richer and richer, right? And at one point, they reportedly owned 27 villas in Florence and throughout Tuscany. Who needs 27 villas?
I'm in one of them right now.
John has one of them behind him. To tell you a quick little side story, because as I've said way too many times before, I lived in Florence for a while. I actually was an intern at a magazine called Vista Magazine, and I got to go do some really great things. I got to go to really cool fashion shows and stuff like that. I got to take pictures and write about it. But one of my favorite things that I got to do was go to a truffle auction at a Medici villa out in Tuscany.
Like the mushroom truffle?
Yeah. A truffle auction. There was a princess there. It was the craziest thing. I just took pictures. So I know. I took pictures of truffles and
did you take pictures with the princess?
I took pictures.
Sorry, we're distracted. 10 minutes. You gotta go.
I took pictures of the princess sniffing a truffle that she was gonna auction on. It was it actually became the main photo of the article, which I was pretty proud of. So I did some cool things. Like actually, like to think about. Like I did some really random.
Shuffle.
I went to a truffle auction in Tuscany. Like that's the most random thing. Like
it's amazing.
It's like
it sounds awesome.
Like how did I do that? How did I get myself involved in that? Which is why. Oh, a really interesting thing before we move on to we gotta leave Cosimo. We gotta move on. But one of the things I wanted to quickly mention is that he had a wife. He did have a wife, Contessina. But what was really interesting about him is he actually had a slave mistress named. Let me see if I can say her name, Maddalena, who he bought in Venice.
Maddalena.
He had a slave mistress. That's like.
What is a slave mistress? Someone you purchase for sex?
He purchased his mistress. You know, most people just get a mistress. He purchased his mistress. That's just the most random. That's so weird.
On a whole different level.
That's on a whole different level. Like that is so. I thought that was just the wildest thing. Like I've never heard of a slave mistress before. Like and all my. That's just the weirdest shit. So Cosimo, when Cosimo finally passes away, because we've been talking about him for a minute, he passes away in 1464, and his son Piero took over as Florence's ruler. However, Piero was an unwell person and died just 5 years later. He didn't really take reign for very long. He had gout, and he got the name Piero the Gouty. Which is something we're going to talk about.
Sorry.
So we're going to be talking about this. I know. We have Cosimo the Elder. We have, I'm pretty sure I'm saying it right, Piero the Gouty. And then we're going to get to now Lorenzo the Magnificent. And they all have very, very interesting names. So when we're done talking about these names and how they've been dubbed in history, I want to hear yours. So as we're going through this, think about if you were remembered, what is your full title, right? So think about it. Don't tell us yet. I want you to think about it, all right? So far, again, we have Cosimo the Elder and Piero the Gouty. Okay? So he takes pretty much... So before he passes away of his gout issues, he is actually going to become... Of course, he's going to inherit the unofficial ruling role of Florence. And he does do a couple of things. He does help keep pretty much things running smoothly from his bedroom, which is kind of sad to think his office was in his bedroom. And he is married and he has 5 children with his wife.
It's not crazy.
It's not that bad. And then the brightest of them was Lorenzo, who, after his death, the leading citizens of Florence are going to ask Piero's son Lorenzo to take the unofficial role of ruling, right? And he was only 20 years old when he takes this role on, basically.
Yeah.
And I
was so stupid as a 20-year-old.
But 20-year-olds in the 1400s is a little bit different than 20-years today, right? Or even in our time, like.
Maybe a little.
He was groomed for the role, so he was really. They put him in school. He was very much well versed in art and philosophy.
Oh, did he study under the church because he was groomed?
He was. I mean, he was so I see what you're trying to do there, and I'm gonna take a drink and move on.
You got 6 minutes. Okay,
nope.
We're gonna go 10 minutes over.
I usually put the time constraint, and I didn't today, and you're the one who's doing it, and I don't get it.
Let's keep going. I'm good. I'm giving you a hard time.
So, oh, by the way, let's show you the Gouty. This is the Gouty. That's who he is. He looks like a sad individual. I mean, he wasn't well, right? Mm. So now we're on Lorenzo. Here's Mr. Lorenzo. I love this picture. Sorry, just like, what is this picture? Who painted this one?
He looks special. He looks special.
I just chose this one. I was like, I didn't research too hard on certain portraits. So Lorenzo was remembered as the Magnificent, right? He is arguably the most popular of the Medici members. He's like the one you remember the most. I mean, hell, Assassin's Creed 2 put him in their game. He is huge, right? He is known for his political acuteness and his artistic skills. He was a really great. He was a poet. He did so many things. Many of his accomplishments are applauded, while some others maybe not so much, which is kind of common, right? He completely reformed the state institutions. He suppressed all rivals existing between families and resolved kind of these family disputes, which didn't make some of them happy, right? I think he just kind of was like, you're fine now. I'm pretty sure that's how that went down. So, he got a new iPhone. Yes, exactly. He also endured, like, he really brought peace in Florence, and also among various Italian powers, through his influence and in pretty much his friendships with all these different groups of people, and did the different parts of Italy. He also ruled indirectly. He did this through like surrogates in the city councils. He also was known to make threats. He would pay people off. He had strategic marriages. The guy was extremely bright. They chose him, so like Cosimo, his grandfather, really favored him. They found him to have this I saw these words when I was researching, unusual intellect. Like, that's a very interesting way to describe someone, to have unusual intelligence or unusual.
Yeah, it's an unusual way to describe someone's intelligence.
It's like to be like, you're very keen, like, he just seemed to have he has this keen eye for things, right? He's
keen on like the ways.
Yes, exactly. The guy was balling. Yeah. So people under him, he kind of had a big grip on things under him. People were known to have little freedom as well through his rule, which caused a lot of like his rival families to harbor some resentment towards him. And the most notable of the rival families was the Pazzi. So, if you guys have not been watching Assassin's Creed 2, just saying. So, let's talk about the Pazzi Conspiracy, shall we? This is probably something I really wanted to divulge into because it's something I just played in a game, and it's a very fascinating kind of like very much a coup, right? Like a coalition of rival families that got together that are supported by the Archduke, and they're supported by the Pope. It's to literally assassinate Lorenzo and his brother, which is crazy to think about. Like, they're like, we gotta get these guys out. Like, that's how much power they had and how much control and influence they had over these families, that even the Pope was backing the idea of kicking these dudes out of power. Like,
it's a little bit too much.
It's a little bit too much.
Too crazy.
So in 1478, on Easter Sunday, a coalition of the Medici family's enemies, who were supported by the Pope at the time, plotted to take out both Lorenzo and his younger brother Giuliano. Let me quickly show you guys Giuliano. So Lorenzo was known to be the intellect, but not the best looking. But Giuliano was known to be the golden boy, like as in he's beautiful and handsome. And they actually dual ruled together, by the way, not to take anything out of Giuliano. He actually also helped Lorenzo rule while he was alive. So this is Giuliano. I mean, you can tell by this painting, he's just like, I'm beautiful. I'm a beautiful man, and then you have like Lorenzo, who's just like, what's up? I'm here to like control everything. So I don't know. So you have Giuliano, which just kind of makes me, yeah. So Giuliano. So the plan was, by the way, with this basically the idea on Easter Sunday. The plan was for the brothers to be killed as they knelt. Yeah, before the altar at mass in the cathedral of the Santa Maria del Fiore. Giuliano, unfortunately, when this went down, so they were going to stab them both while they were kneeling in front of the altar in this church right here. Can you guys see it? Where John is. So what happened was Giuliano was actually first. He was brutally stabbed first. So they attacked him. How many times did I say first? They attacked him first, but Lorenzo was able to fight his way out with a minor wound to his shoulder, and by nightfall, 4 of the attackers were hung. So I don't know if you guys
the forming of like the Renaissance mafia. It's like,
I know, right? They're like, we're gonna go take him out.
Form?
No, it's just kind of interesting. Like, I think this is not not that it was super common, but I wouldn't say it was rare either, where you just were like, let's go take that out, and like they'll stab them, you would poison somebody. Remember, Law and Order, although did exist, it not to the extent of it does today. So the idea that you can literally go up and stab a bunch of people and get away with it is kind of like a modern Unreal situation, right? So if you guys played Assassin's Creed 2, of course, Gelato, you see him get stabbed in front of the cathedral, which is like the most tragic thing, and it's like, no, it's happening, and then as Ezio, you come in and you help Lorenzo get out and escape, right? Because that's how that goes down. And so this is known as the Pazzi Conspiracy. So yeah, there's that. So poor Giuliano is murdered, and Lorenzo escapes, and of course he does get his revenge by the end of the day. 4 of the attackers were hung and killed. I'm actually in this piazza right here, Piazza di Santa Rita. So crazy. Like his grandfather, let's move on to happier times. Like his grandfather, Lorenzo is known to be to patronize the arts, right? A number of notable artists were in his court, and that could be people like Leonardo da Vinci and also Michelangelo and all these really amazing people. So like I stated, Lorenzo is known to have patronized the arts. He really supported basically a notable amount of artists and philosophers and engineers and architects and everything of that nature. He himself was a writer, a poet. He is capable. He basically was known in these capacities. He did so much to beautify Florence. As you know it today, people go to Florence to see the beauty because it's very much been preserved, right? Although buildings have been knocked down, and they knocked down the walls that surrounded Florence originally to make basically roads. Florence itself is pretty much as it was back in 1400s, which is a really wild thing to think about. So if and when after this whole pandemic, please go visit during an appropriate month. Don't go in the summer. It's so crowded. You can't enjoy it. But, oh my god, I just realized Kevin's his thing got deleted earlier by Moobot.
Yeah, I saw it earlier. Nothing you can do about it.
I know. Moobot gets moody sometimes. So, he was also, again, I like this. So, Dan, if you guys ever read Dan Brown.
I like Dan Brown. I mean, it's like soap opera history.
Yeah, but he actually really does a lot of research. And of course, you can either like the way his stories play out, but a lot of the information in his stories are factual. And one of the things he wrote about Lorenzo specifically was that he had a superb eye, right? So he really understood art. He really understood architecture. I think through the bits. This is worse than the Da Vinci Code. But the movie and the novel. Whatever, I don't care. But I remember when I was 17 reading the Da Vinci Code, and I was like, my mind was blown. This was before extensively studying.
Awesome.
I was like, this is amazing. I remember running out of my room to be like, Dad, did you know this? Dad, did you know this?
Even though the book it's always better, they did a really good job translating it. Okay, let's not get distracted.
Okay, as a distinguished poet and someone who supported the arts, he also was very much interested in classical antiquity as well. And that's why Florence becomes the center of this humanistic philosophy of humanistic poets and artists and philosophers, right? It's awesome. He greatly also preserves Florentine history. He just really does so much, and he really helps he enriches, right, this ever-growing collection of precious works of art and textiles and sculptures and rare books within the Medici library, and just he's just going bananas over it, and it's actually still around today, and that's awesome, right? Because there's gonna be some crazy stuff that go down, and there's gonna be some book burnings and later, but there's so much that's going to be. And of course, Napoleon's gonna kind of dominate this area at another point as well. We won't get there. That's way later. So he, to really sum up Lorenzo, he personified this model of the Renaissance prince, basically. So he's pretty great. In 1471, he calculated. So I don't know if you saw this, John, while you were doing some research for your little segment. Is that how he like was able to calculate how much his family had spent on charity buildings and artistic support since his grandfather took control, and that amount totaled to current day American money to $460 million. That's how much they donated.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's about right. It's hard because part of the calculations was like how much it would cost to travel from like Venice to Rome, and it's hard to like make that equivalent. But yeah, it sounds about right. They had a lot of money. They were balling.
So it's crazy. Like that's how much money they had. Like just like $460 million at today's standards. It's just yeah. So actually Lorenzo dies at a fairly young age. He I think he dies at the age of 43 from like from having gangrene in his leg. I think. Mm-hmm. I think that's what I read.
Normal. It smelled like almonds, is what I heard.
Oh, that's gross. I think I've heard that too. I think that's what I read. I didn't put it in my notes, but I remember reading that's how he died. I'm fairly certain. Yeah. He actually, just to let you guys know, because I kind of skimmed over this, he also kind of neglected the banking element of his family heritage, and that bank closed in 1494. So the Medici Bank closed in 1494. Right. So when Lorenzo dies, Lorenzo the Magnificent dies. He does a ton of stuff, right? So R.I.P. in the chat for Lorenzo. His son, who he named Pero as well, became the leader of Florence. Oop. Man, I wonder what their episode of Curse would be like. I agree with you. So actually, much of the family's wealth also was depleted under Lorenzo's rule. Because of this lack of attention to the bank and donating so much money. So when Pero takes over, his son takes over, he pretty much doesn't really have much. He has some money, but not as much. And that's why in history he's known as Pero the Unfortunate.
Yeah, seriously. So, how did you blow all that money? You did get really
well, there's
good.
Other reasons why he's known as the Unfortunate, but like... Yeah. The first is going to inherits riches, right? There's still political influence. There's still a lot going on as a prominent family, but it's not as big, right, as it was during Cosimo and Lorenzo. It's going to start, this lineage is going to start to deplete after Lorenzo, right? He's the Magnificent because he just magnificently spent all the money. So... That's how we put that. So after giving up several castles and ports in Pisa and Livorno, sorry, I've been drinking. Livorno? How do you say this town again? Well, they gave up ports and castles and villas and basically in an imbalanced peace treaty with France. So Charles, I think the 8th, decided to do a campaign to go take the kingdom of Napoli, and was making his way down south, and he invaded Tuscany, and with that, Pero had to make some unwanted peace treaties with him, and this actually really angered the Florence people of Florence, the Florentinians. I don't think that's how you say that. And they got so mad at him for making this kind of peace treaty that they actually exile him from the city, and he dies outside of the city.
That's so unfortunate.
So, unfortunately, after Lorenzo, things don't look so peachy keen for a hot minute, let me tell you. Oh, I'm messing up, you guys. You gotta tell me to change pictures. This is Pero the Unfortunate.
Oh, could you change pictures, please?
Look at that face. He looks like a very young man. You didn't remember either.
Is he like half Chinese? That's just racist.
That's just terrible of you to say.
I mean, maybe it's the hat.
Just say it with an over the top Italian accent, right? You're good.
Oh, is he Chinese?
No.
Is that better?
Terrible. You're terrible. I can't even. So, really, so just let's sum up Cosimo's lineage. Basically the Principate, right? This whole, like, them really running Florence. We're gonna wrap them up. So as the male descendants of Cosimo start to die off, the male heirs of his brother Lorenzo will start to take over. And this will be known as the Grand Duke. So we'll get to that in just a second. I want to do some kind of a couple of things to mention about the rest of kind of the lineage under Cosimo, because there's some really important things to talk about really quickly, but I won't give them too much time because we're running out of time. Well, we put the time. Are we really running out of time? So I really want to first talk about, so the Lorenzo the Magnificent had other sons. We had Perot, right, the unfortunate, but we also have Giovanni, who will become Pope Leo the 10th. I actually have a Pope Leo the 10th picture here. So he becomes Pope Leo the 10th, which is kind of cool. Again, if you weren't going to inherit the land, if you weren't going to inherit the title, you usually sent your other sons off to hold positions in the church. That was very common practice, right? Because you could have power in other ways. That did not, like, Pope Leo definitely had, I know some of the popes had children, right? So it didn't really, like, have any sort of real celibacy or anything like that. But, so Pope Leo the 10th, and then we have Perot's granddaughter, so Lorenzo's great-granddaughter. Let me do this right. Okay. Lorenzo has Perot's son. His son has another son who's like the Duke of Urbino, and then he has a daughter, Catherine de Medici. She marries the Prince Henry of France, who will become Henry II. So,
and Catherine was great, so she becomes
no,
Catherine
that's
the Great.
Russia.
No, I'm connecting all of history, guys. We're good.
That's way later, and that's Russia. Don't confuse people when they try to go to trivia night, okay? So what's cool about, so we have Catherine de Medici, who becomes royalty. She marries the Prince of France, who becomes King Henry II, and all her 3 sons will actually be King of France as well. So the lineage does seep into royalty pretty big time, right? Which is pretty cool. Another honorable, so Giuliano, so remember Lorenzo's brother, Giuliano, he actually has an illegitimate child who will become known as Pope Clement. So let's show some Pope Clement the 7th, I believe. So you actually,
all these guys look so different.
They do. Like, are they related?
Continue on.
No, are they really related?
They really don't look related.
I guess the mother's genes and all of them.
From the Middle East. Whatever. Continue on.
It could be the lighting, the long. They all have dark hair, pretty much, and dark eyes. Yeah. So, by the way, Pope Leo the 10th and Pope Clement the 7th will become the unofficial rulers of Florence and Rome for some time during this period. Pope Leo spent the church's money freely and accrued massive debt. And Pope Clement here, he actually had an 11-year reign. And it was pretty much a tumultuous time in Italy. I know there's a lot of war, and there's a transition of power happening. That's a different story for a different time. And the Republicans in Florence once again tried to remove the Medicis from power. So they're trying to kick them out because it's like there was this instability happening. So this led to a 3-year struggle, but the Medici ultimately retained their power. And in the next 200 years, there will be pretty peaceful. There'll be pretty much a peaceful transition of power through the generations of the Medici family through this last branch we're about to talk about, which is from Cosimo the First. By the way, not Cosimo the Magnificent, but Cosimo the First, one of Giovanni's sons, Cosimo's brother. So we'll
got it. Two Quasimodos. I got this.
Cosimo the top. So the third and final branch that ruled Italy from the early 1500s to the mid 1700s will be the lineage of, like I said, Lorenzo I, Cosimo's brother. So the first of this prominent lineage will be Cosimo I. Let's get that photo up. I think he's the most handsome of them all, to be honest. Look at that dude. Kind of dreamy. Look at that.
I mean, yeah, very dreamy. Look at that
yes,
chin.
not the previous Cosimo. That's Cosimo the Elder. This is Cosimo the First.
Doesn't look like any of the other family members.
I always think the mothers must have had a real, in the genes, you know? Or maybe the artists weren't as good as we think they are. So, Cosimo the First is going to attain supremacy over the whole of Tuscany. He's actually going to gain the title of Grand Duke of Tuscany. So these are going to be the Grand Dukes. So before you had these unofficial kind of rulers, and now you have official rulers, right? These dukes. He actually moved during Cosimo's the first time. He's going to marry a woman who was like a duchess of France, I believe, and she's going to be like, "You're a duke, and I was a duchess. We need to live in a palace," and they're going to purchase Pitti Palace, which is across the Arno.
Gross. I mean, location.
No, it's
you
great.
chose wrong.
No, Pitti Palace is gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So,
I had one out of two. I had no clue what it was. I took a guess.
You actually can visit it in Assassin's Creed too, by the way. But it wasn't it wasn't their palace at the time, because that's 1400s. So that's Lorenzo's time. So what's really fascinating though, just a couple things about. I know. Well, it's my shirt. I liked how my headphones match my shirt. Oh, I touched my boobs. So Pitti Palace is literally right on the other side of the Ponte Vecchio. So just to let you guys know, you have the Uffizi, the Ponte Vecchio. So if you see here, you have the Piazza. This is the Piazza della Signoria, and this is the Palazzo Signoria. And this is where they kind of kept like, yeah. So if you keep going a little bit more, oh my god, you guys, I can't do this. You have the Uffizi, which is a little bit more this way. And it's known as the offices, right? That's what it translates to. And it was the admin offices of the Medici family. And so, does that make sense? Did I say
it's just yeah, but it's just embarrassing. Ooh, where do you live? Oh, I live in the admin offices of...
No,
whatever.
it's just for the government. No, just to give you guys a quick thing about the Pitti Palace. So finally, you have the Medici, right? The family is going to be finally living like the royalty that they see themselves, right? They're going to be living in a palace. And Pitti Palace is quite gorgeous. If you guys, you can go visit it today, and it has a ton of art, and that's what it is. It houses so much art. Yeah. And it has very French influence, of course. And so what... Look at all these cute little emotes. So what's really fascinating, before I really want to get to this really quickly, fun fact about the Pitti Palace is that the Medici hired this gentleman, Giorgio Vasari, to build basically this 760-meter long corridor that attaches Pitti Palace to the Uffizi across the Arno, and it goes across the Ponte Vecchio, which is the most famous bridge, right? In Florence, it's the Ponte Vecchio, the bridge of gold, space, right? So, right? How many times did I say right?
Yeah.
So it's really fascinating. So actually, they didn't have to go outside if they didn't want to. They can literally go from their palace, their home, across this corridor, which goes across the Arno, along the Ponte Vecchio, across these little cute bridges to the Uffizi. Which was like their offices.
Best way to be an introvert.
Yeah.
Never had to leave. Yeah.
Never had to leave.
Quarantine living, 100%. Odin.
So it's pretty crazy. It's actually known to house. So today the Uffizi is an amazing art museum that you can go visit to see really amazing pieces of artwork, like things like by Botticelli and Art of Musia. I highly recommend it. You can go see the Venus coming out of the shell. Like, there's so many great pieces of art there. The Madonna's there. I think the Madonna was there. No, was that at the Louvre? Oh, I can't remember.
The Madonna's at the Louvre.
Louvre, right? There's some really good. The Uffizi has some. I know it has the Venus portrait, a painting by Botticelli. The Venus flytrap. The birth of Venus by Botticelli. Am I saying that right? Oh my gosh, quiz me, please. I don't have a master's or anything. Okay, so, I wish it'd be cool to go up in that corridor. Apparently that corridor has so many great pieces of art, even today, which is kind of rad. You could see it going along the Arno, So, okay, he has two sons, by the way, Cosimo the First, which I won't go too much into it, but I will want to make an interesting mention before I start to sum this all up and give John his moment, because I'm talking so long.
No, I'm done. I don't have any moments, so don't worry about it.
So he had his eldest son, Francesco, inherited the title of Grand Duke of Tuscany, and he actually marries Joanna of Austria, who is the youngest daughter of the Holy Roman Emperor Ferdinand I. And I think this really
Holy crap,
gives you an idea about how high in the ranks this family is, right? The idea that your daughters can be pretty much, or your sons will be wedded into royalty. I think that really says a lot, right? A banking family who sewed some wool and they got really into the banking business and had such a huge influence that pushes, the Renaissance. And so by the 17th century, or the 1700s, basically by the 1700s, the Medici family was facing basically a lack of male heirs, because remember patriarchy, and was virtually bankrupt as well. And the population of Florence had dropped by half due to disease. So you have a lot of disease going down, and people started to move away as well. The later Medici rulers were more authoritarian, and weren't concerned with cultural or artistic endeavors, unfortunately. And because of these things, it really leads to this decline of Florence as a cultural center of Europe. The last male of the senior branch of the Medicis dies in 1737. So this brought the end. They had a really good run. This brought the end of a nearly 300-year Medici family dynasty, which is crazy to think, which was replaced by the long-lasting European reign of the Habsburgs Lorraine family. So the Habsburgs, of course, will be really prevalent, especially during the 1700s, which we talked about when we did Marie Antoinette. A little bit on that. But the legacy continues to live on even to today, right? The most enduring legacy of the Medici comes through the support of the art and architectures, the revolution, this Renaissance revolution, the humanism, this idea of thinking that will, of course, go into the Enlightenment and then eventually will spew its way into the American Revolution and the ideas of democracy. It's like it's just wild, right? They supported this. Like, if they didn't support it, would it have happened at the degree that it did? Mm-hmm. So did they really change the course of history? Ultimately, or was it just something, or maybe they just powerhoused it, they helped it in something that was inevitable? I don't know. You can talk about yourself.
Wait, so I have a question.
Okay.
You halfway through, you asked chat what would be their special.
Well, I want to get to that in a second. Do you want to do that now? Because I still have a couple of fun
yes,
facts.
I want to do right now, and then wrap it all up, and then bring it all together.
Okay, so just to let you guys know, because John decided not to do these honorable mentions, so I will drop some names, even though we did a little bit of it. Some of the structures that the Medici were really responsible for were the St. Peter's Basilica. They helped fund that. The Santa Maria di Fiora, which is the big cathedral here. They also supported artists such as Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Raphael, scientists like Galileo, and political thinkers like Machiavelli. Huge names, right? Let's do some big name dropping. And that's just a small handful of so many, and a lot of them are actually buried at San Lorenzo Church. Is actually where you could also see the lineage of people like Cosimo and Lorenzo and Giuliano. They're all buried there along with Raphael and Donatello.
Amazing church, by the way.
Yeah, so go hang out there in that church, in that cryptorium. So a couple of really fascinating things that you don't really think about, but they help support. They actually funded operas, the creation of the opera, and the invention of the piano. Who knew, right? So they didn't invent it, but they helped fund those types of inventions. They also, they actually played a huge role in the creation of gelato, which I thought was a really interesting thing. Gelato is so iconic.
I know!
They were instrumental in this creation. The famous chef, so you have, let me see this, Bernardo Bonapolenti invented modern gelato in 1565.
Right.
Yeah, and then when Cosimo, when the Grand Duke Cosimo I, right, asked him to organize a banquet to receive this Spanish, diplomat, and they were like, you should make this sweet dessert. And so it's just kind of cool that they supported this creation of gelato, which I thought he decided to surprise everybody with a new invention during this thing, and it was mix of eggnog, fruit, milk. And it became known as the Florentine cream, and it's great. I love it.
And it's delicious. Yeah,
it's delicious. Some crazy things. The Medici also had their own mathematician. They had an alchemist in their family. They just really supported all this really great things. Oh, by the way, legend has it that the alchemist also basically it had something to do with opium. Yeah, so it's just like this invention of opium. I don't know. It's just like all this wild stuff. So you don't realize
for the
when you have
opium
so much money, you're
epidemic.
just funding all these projects and like innovation is bound to happen. So.
Well, even though the family failed, it seems like they spent their money in a good way.
It's a sad way to end, right? But a dynasty, for you to sometimes talk about it, is because it died out, and there's a reason something dies out. Such as civilizations, right? You talk about like Rome, right, or like Greece, or like when they were or the Byzantine, like when they were once at a peak point, and then when they all died out because of.
Wait, so I want to know your name. What are you?
I know, I've been thinking about that. I was like, because, by the way, I've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing, and you could choose, like, your title in Animal Crossing. So I called myself the History Lover Tourist, or the History Lover Traveler. So I've been trying to think of, like, myself as Janelle the Traveler, or Janelle the Rambler. I don't know. I have been trying to...
Those are good. Those are good.
So,
what about chat? What are they... I want to know. I want to hear theirs.
But what is yours, though, John?
Ultimate. Oh, it's easy. It's John the Loved.
John the Loved. Hold on, let me get these
Super
pictures.
Easy. Super easy. Oh yeah, what pictures did we miss?
That's it. No, I did them all. I was on it.
Yeah.
The Traveler. Aren't you a guardian of the Traveler? Yeah, Destiny I am. Let's end the endless wars and go to an innovation binge. Yeah. No, but I would like to know. And if you guys don't have
10
one.
seconds to give me your title, and we're gonna read it on stream right now. I'm gonna read it in an Italian way, or else you're gonna forget. Okay, ready?
Daz the Obscure.
The Obscure. I told you in Italian.
I like it. Daz the Obscure.
Obscure.
That's a good one, actually. I like it a lot.
8, 7, 6. Rita's Italian Ice. Yeah, great.
Oh my God, Rita's Italian Ice sounds amazing right now.
4, 3.
Let's do this.
2, 1.
Cheese, are you there? Kev? We have titles. It's okay.
Well, this was awesome.
I hope you
learned
something.
So much today. The next time I pick up Assassin's Creed 2, I feel like I'm gonna be old in the nomad.
I like it. Just
the scream.
Just switch your names around. We're coming up with titles to our name.
It's Cheese the Screamer.
We have John the Loved. We have Daz. We have what was it? Daz the Obscure. What did I say mine was? Mine was Janelle the
Traveler. The
Traveler. Or the Rambler. Kevin the title.
Kevin the to be decided later. But
the unforgettable laugh. Oh, that's so sweet.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Yeah, thanks for saying unforgettable laugh. But this was awesome.
Cream and cheese. Oh my God, it's so weird.
I learned a lot.
I hope you guys learned something.
Cheers to the chat.
Yes, definitely cheers to the chat. Okay, John, though, don't you have a couple of things you'd like to share?
I shared them when you went to go get another drink.
Oh, never mind then. Look at that.
I have to
Guess
keep
what
them
time
entertained.
it is? 9:29.
Yeah.
What are we drinking tonight? I am drinking a Negroni, my friend. Alex the Dad. Aww. I like it.
I love that. I love that.
Perpetually late? When am I late to things? Well, I get your redeeming chug. I'm not chugging this, my friend. We told you, 1 chug per stream.
All right. So, what is the next drink?
Late to end? No, I said I was going to 9:30.
What's the next one?
So the next one's going to be we're going to be doing, I decided, although it's February 12th, and I was tempted to do one on the history of Valentine's Day, and I was like, I decided to do one on the lore or history of our Carnival, Mardi Gras. So
that's way more fun. Honestly,
more
that's the best decision. I'm not even gonna lie.
So we'll be back in 4 weeks with another episode. I will be streaming Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. Of course,
and I'll be
Mondays,
drinking.
Wednesdays, Fridays, Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. But and John will be in chat shouting at people and making trouble for me. And we'll be back with another Drink History Pete on Friday, February 12th on the history of Mardi Gras. So it should
come join us, guys.
That one should be a ton of fun. I'll throw beads at my webcam for you if you lift your shirts. Okay? So
and we're only gonna have 1 chug for an entire stream next time. It gets turned off. No more chugging.
I love it. You guys, you've been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for tuning in and sticking around as John and I ramble about history and also nonsense. We have a great time. We love to do this, and you guys make it possible. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you want some beads. All right, you guys, have a beautiful, happy Friday. Have a great weekend. And I will see you on Monday with more Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. So, all right, you guys. Toodles. Let me make sure I get all this. Bye.